Well, we've had some rain overnight here at Knockhill, and while the track is drying out at the moment, there is likely to be some slippery places out there, so it's going to make racing very interesting. Matt Garrido on pole position. Can he make it 2 out of 2? It's over to Scott Woodwiss to take you through the grid.
Thanks, Lloyd. And that is the big question. There is Matt Garrido. If he wants to make it 2 from 2, he's going to have to do it with teammate Niall Murray alongside him on the front row. McLennan and Gruber on row 2, ahead of Ross Martin and Jamie Thorburn. Then Michael Eastwell and Joey Foster on the 4th row of the grid, followed by Luke Cooper and Rory Smith. Carter Williams and Jonathan Brown on row 6, from Sebastian Melrose and Sebastian Job. Then Hugo Bentley-Ellis back in 15th alongside Vincent Jay, ahead of Davide Maloney and Fergus Payton. Fraser Gray and Richard Morris on row 10, and watch for Josh Smith and Jack Wolfenden from the back of the grid, as will be James Clark, 23rd and last but certainly not least. Green flag at the back, and we're all set for another 15 minutes of Formula Ford action on the Knockhill reverse layout. Red lights are up. Let's see if Garrido can make it 2 from 2 as the lights go out and we go racing once again. Pretty clean start from the first few runs as Garrido heads the field down towards the hairpin for the first time. It's side by side for second place, but Murray fancies his chances at the lead. He looks to the outside of Garrido, but he's going to get hung out to dry, and he has been. He tracks his way through the gravel, but he's losing several places at once, and he's right down the order already. Meanwhile, wheel to wheel for the lead of the race. McLennan fancies his chances for first place on the damp patches down towards Clark Corner. Can he get the undercut on the exit of Clark Corner? And the answer is yes, he can. He's side by side with Garrido, and he gets his nose in front just before the chicane. So Neil McLennan, former Scottish Formula Ford champion, is into the lead at the beginning of lap 1 here as they head into Scotsman Corner. Garrido tucked under his gearbox for second place. Gruber's had a great start up to 3rd, as has Ross Martin up to 4th, and also Niall Murray is down to 9th position after his excursion into the gravel. And there's Hugo Bentley-Ellis, I'm afraid, contact at the hairpin on lap 1. He's out of it already. End of lap 1, side by side for the lead as Garrido looks back up the inside of McLennan, and there's nothing really McLennan can do. He may look for the cutback on the exit, but there's just no room. And Matt Garrido, race 1 winner, is back to the head of the field. Now there's yellow flags flying down towards the right-hander at Hislops, and that's for the stricken car of Hugo Bentley-Ellis. But the top 4 are trying to break away already, into Clark Corner for the second time. Here's the view from Joey Foster, looking forwards at the gearbox of Ross Martin in 4th place. So Joey Foster took a win at Silverstone. He would dearly love a second one as he rocks over the curbs through the chicane. But now Matt Garrido in prime position now to see what he can do to pick up a second victory over the Sayat curves, all as one together. And there is Niall Murray, number 5. He's already back up to 8th place. He's past Luke Cooper. He's now on the back of Michael Eastwell, as we saw Ross Martin there swarming all over the rear of Nico Gruber's car on the pit straight down towards the hairpin. He's doing it again, as McLennan again for the second time hopes for the cutback on the exit of the hairpin. Nothing doing. And look at Niall Murray as well. Niall Murray's on the comeback trail because he's gone round the outside of Michael Eastwell. That's up to 7th place. So his next target is now going to be Jamie Thorburn in 6th. And they head up towards Clark Corner again for the 3rd time. One after the other, funneling their way through. And now down towards the chicane. Nose to tail now for 5th and 6th position. And throwing these cars around here at Knockhill. It's a great sight. Little puff of tyre smoke from Garrido. Just showing that he's being pushed pretty hard here as they come up through the Sayat curves. We're back on board with Joey Foster. Now he's chasing after 5th place Ross Martin. Everyone huddling together in one line as they head down towards the hairpin again. And where is Foster going to go? Surely he can't go to the inside. He's trying, but he's on the grass, and he's made contact with the rear of Ross Martin's car. Joey Foster spins out at the hairpin, does a complete 360, plucks it into 1st gear, and away he goes, but he's way down the order. Meanwhile, change for the lead, because Neil McLennan at the hairpin, he must have made a move into the left-hander, because he's back in 1st place ahead of Matt Garrido. So Gruber's into third place now. It's now fourth place between Jamie Thorburn and Niall Murray as a result of the contact. And back through the chicane again, tumbling down the hill. But let's just see if Neil McLellan can try and pull away here. It's never easy in a Formula Ford race because when you get the cars into one big train altogether, they cut such a large hole in the air that the slipstream effect is so massive. And you have to say as well, look at that, third place for Nico Gruber. This is only his 5th ever circuit race, and he's up there as if he's been racing it for years. Down towards the hairpin, McLellan goes defensive, and look at Gruber. Gruber's looking for second place on the inside of round Garrido, but the 27 shuts the door firmly in the young Austrian's face. Now on the exit of the hairpin, back up through the gears again. And Niall Murray is up to 4th place now, you see. He's got past Jamie Thorburn. That must have been again down at the hairpin. You can see also that I think Ross Martin is still in there somewhere. Yes, he is in 6th position. How his car's still going after that whack it took from Joey Foster is beyond me. Into the chicane they go. Oh, and Matt Garrido's lost it! Over the curbs, backwards into the gravel trap. Oh, and race 1 winner Matt Garrido spins his wheels helplessly, but from hero in race 1 to 0 in race 2. Oh, poor Matt, he clambers out. Here's a replay. And he just rocked over the curbs way too fast, bumps over, puts both wheels into the air, exactly as Niall Murray did. But while Murray got away with it, unfortunately, that is game over for Matt Garrido. And all he can do is trudge back to the pits and think of what might have been. Think about his strategy for race 3, starting from the back of the grid. Well, the leaders then come out of the hairpin to start another lap. And what this now means is that Neil McLellan has got a little bit of breathing space up at the front now. It's Nico Gruber up into a sensational 2nd place. But you have to ask the question, for how much longer? Because Niall Murray is a very experienced hand. And he's heading through the chicane now looking for 2nd place. Trying to unsettle Gruber here. Trying to see if that inexperience will possibly force a mistake. Into Scotsman corner. Oh, well, it has, because Nico Gruber runs wide. Murray goes up to 2nd place, and Gruber could lose a 2nd position to Jamie Thorburn, and a 3rd one to Ross Martin almost. So that's now Thorburn up to 3rd place. And is Martin going to get 4th? It's going to be very close down the pit straight as Gruber shuts the door firmly in Ross Martin's face. He swarms this way and that. And look at the outside line. That's Michael Eastwell. Where's he come from? Looking down the outside of Ross Martin, and the outside grip seems to be working because he's now pulled himself alongside the Scotsman down the straight towards the right-hander at Hislops. Wheel to wheel. It's now Ross Martin on the inside for Clark Corner. Eastwell will have to give up the place if he can, as McLellan slides his way out of a left-hander. Murray in 2nd place, then Thorburn, Gruber, and Ross Martin has indeed held on to 5th position. And also look at the back of that queue. That's Luke Cooper having a slightly more subdued 2nd race, and indeed whole weekend here at Knockhill. He won a race at Silverstone, but just finding his feet here on the reverse layout. Probably more used to the traditional clockwise layout that everyone uses. But it's a new challenge for several drivers here, including Joey Foster. Now, he's on the comeback charge after his contact earlier on with Ross Martin down at the hairpin, which is approaching now. He's now looking to the outside of Rory Smith, possibly looking for the undercut, which is probably what he should have done with Martin. Sneaks back up the inside over the curb, but the traction on the outside of the corner is great enough for Rory Smith to hold on. So Joey Foster will have to look again and try and find another avenue through. Thinks about sneaking up the inside, but he thinks, hold on, I tried that once before, didn't work. So he sits back and thinks to try and attack another day as the leading group head back through the chicane. And Jamie Thorburn now up into 3rd place, trying to pull away from his Cliff Dempsey teammate Nico Gruber. They turn their way out of the Scotsman corner, now flying over the Seat curves, one after the other. There's Eastwell 6th, there's Luke Cooper in 7th. He's a Castle Coombe Formula Ford champion, and now we're on board with Carter Williams. Now he's a Formula Car racing champion over in America, and he also made it to the Mazda Road to Indy last year as well on the scholarship shootout. He's trying again, his first time in Europe. He's now on the back of the Northern Formula Ford champion, Josh Smith. There's some movement going on in front of him as skating off the road. That's one of the Oldfield Motorsport cars. It's number 3. So Davide Maloney, the young San Marino driver, just finding his way back onto the track. There you go. Good job, Davide. And now then, here come the leaders back through Butchers and Scotsman corner. And Niall Murray is not playing around here. He is right on the gearbox of Neil McLellan. And these two always put up such a feisty battle whenever they're together on track. And Niall Murray is as close as he's ever been. Which way will he go? He looks to the inside. He gets squeezed to the white line by Neil McLennan, but he has to give him a car's width, and they're dead level as they come down towards the hairpin. Under brakes, squirming around for traction as they head into the left-hander. Murray's got his nose in front. McLennan looks for the undercut, but it's not going to work. And so from right there in that gravel trap, dropping down to 9th place on the opening lap, Niall Murray's back into the lead and 2 more cars in the gravel trap. Now, one of them is Fergus Payton, the number 19. He's pretty much beached, and the other car tracking his way through, who appears out of shot, is Richard Morris. And as the leaders come past him to put a lap on him, Richard does well to keep his foot in somewhat and track his way back out of the gravel and keeps himself in the race. So, leaders back through Scotsman Corner again. Now, I wonder what's going to happen with Fergus Payton's stranded car. Is it in a position precarious enough to want a safety car? Or are we going to get a red flag? Or are they going to cover that with double waved yellows? Well, there's your answer. Safety car has been deployed here at Knockhill for the 2nd race in succession. And this now means that everyone gets a bit of a breather now. We're quite deep into the race anyway. So everyone starts to bunch up here. There's the safety car. Just appearing into shot now come our race leaders, headed by Niall Murray. Once again, you see them weaving from side to side already to keep the heat and the temperatures and the tyre pressures all up as high as possible. And so let's just take stock of the race so far. Well, Niall Murray, as we said, tried an ambitious move down the outside into the hairpin. Didn't quite pay off, and he may have possibly thought his race was over by then. But one thing you never do in Formula Ford, if there's a race including Niall Murray, you never ever count him out wherever he is in the field, because he will charge back through and he will surprise you. There's a reason why he's 2016 champion. He's back on board with Carter Williams. There's Fergus Payton's car. Fergus appears to be out of the car and perfectly okay. It didn't look as though he made contact with anyone. So he's out of the car. Probably just a little bit of damaged pride, I suspect, from throwing it off the road. There's very little room for error here at Knockhill. It's a relatively narrow circuit. They say you can't pass here, but there's some prime opportunities to make a move, particularly at the hairpin. And just there on the right-hand side, that is the stricken car of Matt Garrido. He, of course, was leading early on in race 2. And I'm sure he would have been odds-on to double up in this race. But sadly, it wasn't to be. There's Sebastian Job in the blue and green car. A couple of stragglers at the back of the field also trying to catch up. And now here's the field bunching itself up through the Seat curves. So weaving from side to side again. And Niall Murray would dearly love to be the first driver this season to pick up more than 1 race victory. Because so far, we've had 4 different winners from the first 4 races. We had I'm trying to think who we had now. We had Niall Murray, we've also had Joey Foster and Luke Cooper, and we've now had Matt Garrido. Can Niall Murray become the first driver to win 2 races this season? Just back again from side to side. I see Joey Foster in there. Rory Smith is in there as well. And Joshua Smith. No relation between the two. There's Carter Williams in car 150. And he's doing pretty well in the pack. He's made some good progress from Silverstone. Running high up in the top 10. And Sebastian Melrose is in there too as well. In the white car with the black and red striping. Jack Wolfenden's also made some progress up from the back of the field. And the rest of the pack catching itself up again. I think at the back there, that's Davide Maloney after his trip through the gravel trap at Clark Corner. And so all bunching up once again. And of course, it's after Knockhill, they'll head to a real classic circuit for Formula Ford. It's effectively its unofficial home, that being Brands Hatch. Then they'll go to Kirkistown in Northern Ireland, where we had 3 sensational races at Kirkistown. And then they'll head to Castle Combe, another Formula Ford favourite. Alton Park comes next after that. And then Croft and Donington to round out the 8 race meeting calendar. Now then, safety car lights are out, which means that we are getting underway and racing once again. We're pretty late into the race now, so really we can't afford any more mistakes from anyone this late into proceedings. But the process now, if anyone's unaware, is that Niall Murray, who's violently weaving from side to side at the last minute, will now decide when he wants to restart this race. He effectively becomes the safety car. He will pop out over the hill any moment now. There he goes. He's put his foot to the floor and says, right, I'm going, chaps. Come with me if you're ready. Down the straight, up towards the start and finish line. Green flag's flying, and we're back underway once again here at Knockhill. But immediately, Murray's not comfortable. He's squirming under braking as McLennan looks for the inside line. Up into the hairpin. Up the inside also goes Ross Martin as Nico Gruber runs wide, and Ross Martin's up to 4th place. So a great move from the Scotsman. But now Neil McLennan is putting Niall Murray under pressure here, as he did with Matt Rangarino at the start of the race earlier on. Into Clark Corner. It's Murray, McLennan, Thorburn in 3rd place, and that's Ross Martin. Martin off the road. Ross Martin skates off the road at Clark Corner. Now that's his race over, but what's that going to do? We are literally in the last few moments of the race. Now is that going to prompt a safety car again? Will we get the red flag? Will they cover it with waved yellows until the end of the race? We'll have to wait and see. But Ross Martin throws away the chance of a top 5 finish and what could have even been a podium if he'd been lucky enough. Down the pit straight on the first lap after the restart, Murray leads. It's side by side between the 2 Scottish drivers. McLennan in 2nd place, Thorburn in 3rd. They're still going at it down towards the hairpin. Gruber closing up into 4th place. But it's all come to a premature halt because, as you can see on the screen, red flag is out. The race has been stopped. And because we are that late in the race, we will not get a restart. We will have to declare a result. And after a very, very eventful second race, plenty of action, plenty of drama, plenty of cars heading off left, right and centre, including Ross Martin. Hands on his hips, not very pleased with himself. But here is classification of the result at the red flag. It's Niall Murray who wins from Neil McLennan in 2nd place and Jamie Thorburn 3rd. Then Nico Gruber and Michael Eastwell ahead of Luke Cooper, Rory Smith, Josh Smith, Carter Williams a brilliant 9th and Sebastian Melrose in 10th. Jack Wilson in 11th from James Clark and Sebastian Job. Then Jay, Gray, Maloney, Morris and Brown the rest of the finishers. And Ross Martin, Matt Rangarino and Joey Foster, who was excluded after his contact with Ross Martin, are the non-finishers.
No, tough opening laps, and even at the end there, it was getting a bit close, bit dicey. Were you worried?
I was a little bit worried when I was in the gravel trap on lap 1, yeah, but yeah, managed to get out there, didn't lose too many places, so yeah, picked them off one by one. I knew I had the pace from yesterday, just struggled in qualifying, which set us on the back foot for race 1, but again, we knew we had the pace, so yeah, I was delighted to, I'm delighted to pick up all the places and get the win, so. Practiced a lot of overtakes on this notoriously difficult to overtake track, so later on the reverse grid will be good.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see you come through and see if you can repeat the action. Do you think it's possible?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know what place I was in there, but I was probably 8th or less, or further down. So, yeah, at least if I start 8th there later on, I'll easily be able to make it up. Especially because the guys in front of me the guys at the very front will be slower. So it'll be a good race. Fantastic.
We look forward to seeing you out there.
Thank you.
Neil, P3 in race 1, P2 now. Can you make it to the top step?
Thank you very much. We're definitely going to give it a try. It's been a fantastic weekend so far. Just can't thank the team enough again for such a great setup. But no, really good race from Niall. Well done to him. But we're going to try and go for the win for the next one, yeah.
Well, certainly a lot of action going on in that race. How do you keep your head as a driver?
Just all I can do is just try to keep calm, and that's the main thing, is just try your best to do that. But yeah, no, we were fine.
We look forward to seeing you on the top step later on.
Hopefully, thank you very much.
Jamie, tough racing out there, a lot of action going on, safety car period as well. Where do we start?
Yeah, well, the first lap made a mistake into the hairpin and dropped to 7th, and from that point on it was just about recovering the position, stayed out of trouble unlike yesterday, and yeah, just got a bit lucky with the incidents in front, but I mean the car was really, really quick. We had the pace to be on the podium, and I'm glad we got to show that, because yesterday we didn't really. The safety car period was a bit of a nightmare. It was good for me because I caught up, but the safety car was so late at turning its lights off and going in that although I'd caught them up, they got a better run than me after the safety car, so lost a toe. But yeah, we were so close to finishing second in that one because Niall and Neil had a little coming together coming out of Clark's, and I was almost alongside Neil on the way at the chicane, but just last moment I backed out of it. Otherwise, yeah, we might not, well, maybe not have finished that one if I hadn't, but happy enough with third. We'll make a few little changes to the car and see what it's like in race 3, but yeah, full credit to the team. A big thank you to all my sponsors and my family for making all this possible.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations on your podium. We look forward to seeing you in race 3.
Thank you very much.